This is the Kahnawake COVID-19 Task Force Daily Briefing. Today is Thursday, June 11th. It's episode number 88. Number 88 made famous by people like Eric Lindros, some NASCAR driver that many people like in town. And not Eric Lindros, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Michael Irvin. But none are more famous than our next guest. He was a guidance counselor in 1988, and he's held about 88 very important positions, including a member of the Kahnawake Task Force. Please welcome Arnold Lazar.
Good afternoon, Kahnawake. Thank you, Neil. I'd like to start off by saying today's going to be a shorter session. I'd like to congratulate the graduates that had their graduation today. Looks like the weather cooperated, and we sincerely hope that the weather will continue for the next set of grads. Today in the task force, it was relatively slow, but what I'd like to draw attention to is despite the fact that we've said things several times, we're still getting similar questions. A lot of people ask, why is the task force repeating and repeating? It's because the questions are still coming in. The recent directive was concerning retail stores and masks. The task force has agreed that if people are going to go out into retail stores, including in Kahnawake, it's a recommendation that people wear masks. Once again, the masks are helpful in the person transporting the virus to other people. It won't protect you against the virus, but it will protect other people. And if two people have the mask, then the possibility of contamination is decreased. The second item was to clarify the issue of travel. For most Kahnawake Ronu, the interprovincial travel is allowed. It's not recommended by the task force. Once again, we've stated before that the virus doesn't move, it's the people that move the virus. So travel interprovincial is not recommended. And of course, for all the members of the Executive Directors Committee, at this point, there's still a restriction, and people are not allowed to travel outside the province. Over the weeks, there's been a lot of issues attributed to the task force that weren't part of the task force primary decision. That has to do with the Quarantine Act of Canada. We had mentioned that anybody who returns to the community from the United States has to quarantine or self-isolate for 14 days. This is a directive not of the task force. It's a directive that the task force is following, but that actually comes from the Quarantine Act of Canada, and primarily because the United States has been a hotbed and still continues to be. As part of the National Indigenous Fire Safety Council of Canada, we've had the dubious task of canceling the National Native Firefighter Competition. It was supposed to be held in Saskatoon in August, and that's one of the other events that have been canceled. But primarily speaking to people in BC, they're relatively free of the virus. Very good news, but just a few miles south in Washington, the numbers are skyrocketing again. So right now, there is a ban on international travel. And it's for once again, the reasons are based on safety of health. So people are just need to be aware that it's not the task force that's decided it. We are supporting it, but that is the directive of the Canadian government and U.S. government. So having said that, we do know that the most important thing that we can do to limit the spread is continue hand washing, hand washing, hand washing. And you don't necessarily need the hand sanitizers. Basic hand soap will work in breaking down the virus itself. So wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. And the next important thing is social distancing. It's still very frustrating as people go on longer and longer. The frustration is building, but there are a lot of things you can do. Remind people you can have outdoor events up to 8 people to give yourselves that distance. And with the warm weather, we're hoping that people will continue to adhere the rules. So I'm going to keep it short today, and I'm going to end on that note. Once again, graduates, congratulations. Kahnawake, stay safe, wash your hands, and keep your distance. Kahnawà.
Now, Arnold. So a couple of program notes. Tomorrow will be hosted by the Calgary Hospital's Ray Montour. Joe Delarone will be back on Monday. And just Arnold was talking about some of the directives that were given out. Those directives on paper, some of them came out on Monday. So we just want to remind you what these live updates are for. They're just to give you live information quick as possible. It gives the task force that opportunity. Often they meet right until 4. And then right after the task force update, they're able to give you information. They've been meeting less and less, so it's different these days, but at the beginning they were meeting more often. And it also gives the opportunity to talk more in detail about some of these directives. But what you should do is pay attention to Kahnawake 911, the official website at KMHC, and pay attention to what's written in terms of these directives, communiques, press releases, and whatnot. Those are what's more official and what you should be paying attention to. With that said, I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Ray Montour will see you again tomorrow. Kahnawake.